You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Friday the 13th. Happy Venus Day, and welcome to your weekend. In today's episode, we're going to talk through the energy of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you're joining me live, buckle up, get comfortable. And if you're finding this video later, I'll add markers to the timeline so you can jump to whichever day of the forecast you're looking for guidance on. Hi, Rachel. Happy Friday. Hey, James. So I want to start with today's birthdays because, first of all, some beautiful men were born on Friday the 13th. Liam Hemsworth, Orlando Bloom, Patrick Dempsey. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is also a Capricorn. Interesting. Shonda Rhimes, Ruth Wilson. But we got to back up here for a second because there's a little bit of tea surrounding Liam Hemsworth's birthday. I know this is not like a celebrity show, but just give me a second here, okay? So if you know me, you know I'm kind of obsessed with Miley Cyrus. She just released her new song, Flowers. It's been on repeat in our house. Did not realize that she released it on Liam Hemsworth's birthday, her ex. And it's definitely about him and their relationship. So just a little fun fact for you there. A little bit of pettiness, I feel like, but honestly, I'm here for it. Great song if you haven't listened to it yet. This weekend, Dave Grohl will be celebrating a birthday. Jason Bateman, LL Cool J. All right, Holland Taylor. And on Sunday, our birthdays include my beautiful friend Cassie Wilson, who I used to work with in Reno. She shares her birthday with Martin Luther King Jr., so many of you are probably heading into a 3-day weekend. Dove Cameron also celebrates her birthday on January 15th. Pitbull is a Capricorn. Would not have guessed that. He gives off much more Aries, Sagittarius, fire vibes, but I'm sure he has some fire energy in his chart somewhere. Ben Shapiro, Skrillex is a Capricorn, Regina King, Drew Brees. Lots of Capricorns celebrating this weekend. And if you're a Capricorn, if you know someone celebrating their solar return, give them a shout out in the comments so we can all send them some love. Yes, McDreamy. It's his birthday today. Friday the 13th also, you might be seeing if you follow a lot of spiritual accounts on social media, is a day associated with the divine feminine. There are 13 moon cycles of the year. Friday, it's Venus Day associated with feminine energy. And with 13 moon cycles, there are also 13 menstrual cycles. So, you know, the patriarchy kind of took over Friday the 13th and made us all a little bit scared of it, but it's actually a very powerful feminine day that we can all tap into. Great song. That's all I'll say about it. This is not a Miley Cyrus fan page, but it might as well be one. Yeah, lots of people excited about the Capricorn celebrating. Yeah, okay, so enough about Friday the 13th, enough about the birthdays. Today, the sun is in Capricorn, the moon is in Libra. So we are marking the last quarter moon today. This is the point of peak release in the moon's cycle. Both the sun and moon are in cardinal signs, so there's an element of leadership and authority that comes with the forecast over the next couple days. But today's that day to just let it go. Let it go. And with the last quarter moon in Libra, of course, we'll get into this a little bit more in the forecast. Libra is the sign of the scales, the sign of balance. So what can you release to find more balance, find more harmony in your life? Something to keep in mind as we talk through the major transits of the weekend. Interesting, Nick. I heard Friday the 13th was the day the French slaughtered the Knights Templar. I'm not sure, but another little superstitious story that comes from Friday the 13th. Today, though, we're talking about the Capricorn sun forming a sextile to Neptune. So here's a look at the chart. You can see the sun is at 23 degrees, Neptune at 23 degrees. They're making this nice supportive 60-degree angle to one another. A sextile feels like the energies are working hand in hand. And I love when Neptune is connecting with a planet that has more of a serious practical influence, like the Capricorn sun. It feels like Neptune softens the serious energy of Capricorn season, and at the same time, the Capricorn sun provides some grounded logic to dreamy Neptune and Pisces. So this does feel like this nice supportive connection, you know, softening our awareness, softening our need to have things planned out and figured out during Capricorn season, opening us to compassion, empathy, sensitivity during a season when we're much more mentally focused, practically focused. We can be more soft. So this does feel like just a softening of the current energy. There's also with Neptune a sense of trust and reassurance that comes with this transit, even if things don't totally make sense. The Capricorn sun wants things to make sense, wants to have the 10-step plan laid out, but Neptune is that reminder, just go with the flow, let things unfold, let it happen as it should. Trust in a higher power, trust in a plan greater than you can understand right now, whatever that looks like for you. So it's a nice sextile between the sun and Neptune. Imagination can be heightened today. You might feel like you just kind of want to check out, throw on a movie. It's raining here again, so it feels like a nice day to just snuggle up and let our mind wander, let ourselves dream a little bit, and also, again, soften. It feels like if this transit was one word, it would just be soften. So that's a nice connection that we're experiencing. It was exact at 6:11 a.m. You might have also had some vivid dreams because Neptune is the planet of dreams. The sun represents our awareness, our life force energy. So our dreams could have maybe not necessarily carried messages, but they could have been vivid. I mean, dreams always carry messages if you ask me. So, you know, maybe with the sun and this very forward-thinking, success-oriented sign, our dreams provided some clues as to what we really want, what success looks like or means to us. That's the first transit. I don't have a whole lot to say about the sun forming a sextile to Neptune. It just feels very welcoming. It feels welcoming. It feels very soft and gentle. But we have another transit that's beginning today that we will be feeling really over, I want to say the next week or so. I'm pulling up the chart here to tell you. I think it's at least the next 4 or 5 days. So tonight at just after 11:11 p.m., 11:12 p.m. here in the Pacific time zone, Mercury retrograde comes into a trine with the North Node. This chart doesn't usually show connections to the nodes, but we'll show it nonetheless. So Mercury retrograde is at 9 degrees. The North and South nodes are also at 9 degrees. And because Mercury retrograde is making a flowing connection to the North node, it's also making a supportive connection to the South node. This is an energy we're going to feel through the weekend. And it's really playing into that juxtaposition between remembering, going back, and also in that process of review, getting clearer about where we're going, the direction we're heading. So that's going to be something that, again, probably comes up quite a bit through the weekend, looking back, reviewing. It's the last week of Mercury retrograde in that process of even reviewing our own patterns. Retrogrades often reveal patterns to us. So, understanding your own mental patterns, your own thought patterns with the planet of our mental state, our communication, retrograde, understanding, are there thoughts that keep replaying? Or are there any beliefs that are kind of holding you back from moving forward? So the North and South nodes are often referred to, the South node is like our comfort zone. The North node is our growth edge, if you will. And with Mercury retrograde forming a sextile to the South node, there is this awareness, this review, this understanding of what's keeping us in our comfort zone. But the trine to the North node allows us to begin to illuminate the path ahead a little more easily, walk the path of our highest good, push ourselves outside of that comfort zone a little more easily. So this all coincides with the last quarter moon and is part of the process of understanding, what do we need to let go of? What beliefs, what thoughts are keeping us safe, and maybe also prohibiting us from growing and finding success in the future. Mercury retrograde in Capricorn could even be thoughts about what success really means to you. What does that look like for you? What limiting beliefs are holding you back from success? What's keeping you from growing? That's the question to review. And because Mercury is slowing down, ending its retrograde, Mercury will be in this trine to the North node and a simultaneous sextile to the South node, again, for the next 4 or 5 days at least. We're going to be feeling this essentially through the end of Mercury's retrograde. So in this process of review, we can get a little clearer about what direction we're really going, what goal we're heading towards, and what path we're meant to walk forward. Rachel says, wow, so I keep getting insights about letting others in to help with my situation. And today I opened up a tiny bit to my sister. It was a nice conversation and feeling like a weight lifted. That Neptune influence helping you ask for help, softening a little bit, understanding you don't have to do it on your own, and the Libra moon, sometimes bouncing your emotions off of other people gives you a little more clarity about how you really feel. I love that. Wow, Diane says, I've been having multiple memorable dreams each night, many with animals. My dream journal has so many entries this past month. I've been having lots of dreams too, Diane. And I love that you keep a dream journal and you can kind of track the journey that your subconscious is going on. Lots of mental stimulation today, for sure. So even if you don't have a dream journal, just having a journal, having something to scratch down thoughts and ideas on might be helpful. Really through the end of Mercury retrograde, sometimes writing things down can help us process them and help us observe our own patterns, our own thought processes a little more easily. Those are the two main planetary connections we'll talk about for Friday. Let's dive into what's going on with the Libra moon. So as I mentioned, it's the last quarter moon in Libra, putting the focus on our relationships, conversations with others, bouncing our emotions off others can give us more clarity about what we need to let go of. The last quarter moon is like that letting go, letting it all release. It's that pinnacle moment of release. So sharing how you're feeling with others, like Rachel was just talking about. But also there is this concept of balance, peace, harmony associated with Libra energy. What can you let go of? How can you loosen your grip a little bit to find more internal peace, to find more peace in relationships? These are questions to ask yourself under the last quarter moon. Maybe it's just releasing control, releasing the need to please others. Libra energy can be very people pleasing. So, are you trying to please others so much that you're not honoring your own emotions or honoring yourself? What do you need to let go of under this last quarter moon in Libra? The Libra moon makes a lot of connections today. Katie says, I pulled the fire card today. Interesting to think of the different degrees of fire. Simmer, blaze. Ooh, I love that. Interesting because we really don't have a lot of fire in the forecast at all. Well, we're about to talk about Mars, so there will be a little fire energy, but it's interesting that you pulled the fire card when there's not, we're in this very cold, wet season. Even the connections we're talking about are very earthy, very watery. So maybe the fire is that fire you need to keep illuminating the path ahead in this very cold, wet season. Or maybe it's just because I'm looking out the window and it's raining. Nikki says she had lots of dream messages too. And it's also cold and wet where she is. Transiting Neptune on your ascendant. Well, you might feel a little confused about who you're becoming. The ascendant, I like to think of it as that moment of rebirth, you know, coming from the 12th house, the death, the shedding. So there could have been a lot of healing, releasing happening for you over the past few months, maybe even few years. As Neptune moves into your first house, you can dream a little bit bigger about who you're becoming and have more imagination, maybe find more empathy and compassion for yourself. The first house is the house of self, but you also might be a little confused about how you're showing up or how you want to show up, and that's okay. Neptune brings a little bit of confusion, so I would just suggest playing around, using your imagination. How does this version of me feel? How does this version of me feel? And just kind of letting yourself flow in that state of confusion to find out, test out, who are you becoming? What dreams are you here to bring into the world? Yes, the relationship with other elements. Interesting. Sounds like a cool card. Okay, so what's going on with the Libra moon today? Well, first of all, right now, the moon is harmonizing with Mars. So you can see the current chart, that trine with the moon now at 8 degrees, I believe, harmonizing with Mars in Gemini. Mars is now direct. So this is definitely a transit that we're feeling motivated. It's kind of like go time. It's easy to take action right now, find that energy right now, Mars being the planet of action, aggression, energy. And that trine just helps us tap into it more easily. The Libra moon can make us a little indecisive. You know, it's that stereotypical Libra vibe of not being able to decide, weighing all the options. But the trine to Mars is like, let's go. We're motivated to connect. We're motivated to communicate. We just want to take action, regardless of what that action looks like. So it's easy to make moves now. It's easy to find that motivation and move forward. Then at 1 o'clock this afternoon Pacific time, so 4 p.m. Eastern time, the moon squares Mercury retrograde. This can bring some communication issues, travel mishaps, tech glitches. So something to keep in mind today. Just be really careful and mindful of how you are communicating. You can see that square already starting to play out with Mercury retrograde. So send positive energy to the stream that we don't have any tech glitches right now. Today's a day to cross your T's, dot your I's, make sure you have everything in order. And again, be very mindful about how you're communicating, coming back to what we talked about at the beginning of Mercury retrograde. Mercury in Capricorn tends to be a little cold, a little harsh, not the most empathetic when it comes to communication. So you might think, oh, I'm just giving it to you straight, being straightforward. And that could come across, especially with Mars in the mix right now, come across as a little aggressive. So being soft, leaning into that sextile to Neptune today, finding that softness. And with the moon in Libra, coming back to people pleasing, any attempts to people please or keep the peace could actually lead to some unclear boundaries or unspoken needs. And that often leads to resentment, which then can in turn lead to communication issues, even arguments. So being very clear about your needs today, standing up for yourself, not just going along with everybody else wants, but also finding compassion and empathy for others at the same time. Be patient. When the moon squares Mercury, you know, we can blurt things out or feel the need to express ourselves right now. So really slowing down, leaning into the harmonious, balanced Libra energy of the Libra moon and thinking things through before you say them out loud. So that's this afternoon. lots of energy to work with. Just be really careful about how you're directing that energy, how you're using it, and how you are communicating it. This goes with the purging energy we're feeling. Like there's this ease with releasing and Mars helping us find that peace. Yeah. And because it's the last quarter moon too, you know, and the moon is squaring Mercury, again, you might feel this urge like, I just need to get this off my chest right now. Slow down. Be very mindful. Be very mindful about how you're saying the thing, how you're getting it off your chest. Obviously, follow your intuition and do what feels best for you. But remember, there's more than one way to communicate how you're feeling. And often there's a more gentle way than Mercury retrograde in Capricorn makes us think there is, right? It's really easy to fall back into past communication patterns during a Mercury retrograde too. So just being mindful of that. How am I evolving my communication? How can I, with Mercury trine the North Node, communicate a little differently, push the boundaries of my comfort zone? And like Diane says, it always comes back to boundaries. So, you know, how can I be direct and uphold my boundaries, but also still be compassionate and gentle? We can do both. The Libra moon reminds us we can do both. It's that gentle leadership. 2 more transits to talk about with the moon. So the moon will oppose Chiron at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And at 9 p.m., there's a trine to Venus. So I kind of want to talk about this as a mashup of energy, if you will. Let me jump ahead so you can actually see this. And I want to make sure I'm seeing all of it. Okay. So here's the chart. We have the moon opposing Chiron here and forming that trine to Venus. The opposition to Chiron can make our wounds, make our pain very clear, right? It's like looking in a mirror. It's that mirroring energy when we talk about oppositions. So we can be a little triggered because we're really seeing our wounding, maybe even seeing other people's wounding with the moon in Libra. But this trine to Venus playing out at the same time allows love to flow through more easily, allows us to express our affection more easily. We can have more grace, more ease. Really coming back to this duality we're feeling today between wanting to take action and wanting to assert ourselves, maybe even express how we're hurting or what wounds are being triggered, but at the same time, also knowing that love can flow through very easily. And honestly, you can see on the chart here, there is this loose grand trine playing out with the airy Libra moon and then Mars in Gemini and Venus in Aquarius. So Venus and Mars are both trining the moon today, which is bringing this nice balance between masculine and feminine, coming back to duality, that masculine Mars energy of being assertive. Even the square to Mercury retrograde can be like, I just got to say this, I just got to do it, you know, but the trine to Venus bringing in that feminine flow. That Neptune energy we were talking about too, helping us soften, helping us be more compassionate and empathetic and intuitive and reading the room before we just jump into action. So late tonight, it'll feel easier to tell people, I love you. You mean a lot to me. You know, just finding that softness, finding that affection, that love, and letting people know, finding common ground with others. During this trine to Venus as well, under the Libra moon, connection will come very naturally tonight if we allow ourselves to soften, if we don't put up our walls, you know, if we don't just go into full people-pleasing mode and abandon ourselves. Because oftentimes, I have a stellium in Libra. Okay, I say this from experience. When we're people-pleasing, there's this underlying resentment. Like, I'm doing all of this for you. Why aren't you noticing it? Why aren't you giving me the love I need? You know, so making sure you're not falling into that trap of abandoning yourself under the Libra moon and feeling this underlying resentment that might boil to the surface and come right out. Instead, how can I honor myself and my boundaries while also showing you love, while also flowing with the situation? My Mars is slightly feeling the push forward. Yeah, starting to feel that motivation as Mars stationed direct yesterday. Luckily, with the conversation with my sister, she mentioned a couple things that triggered me, but I let go. Well, that's the opposition to Chiron today, you know, and there's the awareness of the triggers. That's where healing begins. Katie says she's calling in the turtle energy from yesterday. Couldn't stop myself from talking out of turn. That would be Mercury retrograde, right? Especially with it probably transiting over some of your planets in your chart. It was so annoying, focusing on slowing down and all the lessons that Mercury retrograde brings. And that's a great point, Katie, because Mercury retrograde in the very lesson-oriented sign of Capricorn can force us to review during this retrograde some of the lessons we've already learned. So notice, has this lesson come up for me before? Did I not fully embrace it or accept it the first time? How can I really heed this message this time that keeps coming up for me? Felt that a bit last night, Diane says. The replay of the last few years of hurts coming up. Hopefully it flows better today. It's all about the awareness, right? Now that you know it, what can you do with that intel? What can you do with that information? That's where healing begins. Venus is on top of my Saturn right now. Lessons in relationships. Yeah. That makes sense. Nikki's feeling the snow and that slow turtle energy. Okay, so that's our Friday. Let's move on to the Saturday forecast. On Saturday, we have a powerful transit. Venus is squaring Uranus. This can bring about change in relationships and in money and even in our appearance or beauty. Today, or I should say Saturday, is not a day I would say to like cut all your hair off or make any major risky financial decisions. We are craving excitement. We are craving spontaneity when Venus squares Uranus, especially with Venus in Aquarius. Aquarius being ruled by Uranus, there is this like, we just want to do it differently and almost this restless urge to do it with this square playing out. So this can activate a lot of exciting changes in love, in relationships. We could even experience an innovation of our values with Venus ruling our values. Our ability to do things differently and think outside the box can kind of unlock new ways of viewing our values or even relating to other people. But with Venus, we have this desire to find common ground, to relate to other people, to be seen for who we are authentically with Venus in Aquarius. But Uranus is like rebelling against convention, rebelling against the peace, you know, disrupting the peace in a lot of ways. So, you know, there's this desire to just do things we haven't done before in relationships or do things differently, have new, unique experiences. It's a great day to try new things, but maybe nothing that you're going to be locked into for the long term. If you spark up a relationship or connect with someone, it probably will feel very exciting during this square between Venus and Uranus, but might not necessarily stand the test of time. Venus also can rule our creativity. So Venus in Aquarius, it's a powerful time to try new forms of creativity, especially under this square to Uranus, maybe trying a new form of art or dancing to a different kind of music you've never danced to before, listening to music you've never heard before, playing in the unknown. This feels just like an energy of trying new things, seeing what you like, and seeing if any insights are unlocked in the process. There could be shifts, major changes, disruptions to relationships that help us innovate, but with a square, there can be tension too. So you might notice that if you're in a partnership of any kind, not just romantic, the person on the other end is kind of being disruptive or poking the bear or rebelling against the agreements you've already made in the relationship. So there's kind of this dramatic desire to change things under this square between Venus and Uranus. That's why I say don't get a haircut, don't get a tattoo. I would not get a tattoo under the square between Venus and Uranus. You might find yourself regretting it later. Instead, maybe try something a little more temporary, like doing your hair differently or applying your makeup in a new way, wearing a funky, eccentric outfit, playing with creativity in that way, just not marrying yourself to anything you might regret later. There's also, with Venus being the planet of money, this urge to take a financial risk. Again, buy a lottery ticket. Don't invest your life savings. Make sure you don't make any impulsive decisions that you aren't really, impulsive decisions, obviously we're not sure about them if they're impulsive for the most part. So it's Uranus can bring this like intuition, but with the square to Venus and all of this Aquarian energy, just try not to rebel against the things that they're going well or that you know to be true. Rebelling just for the sake of rebelling usually doesn't turn out well, and that's kind of the shadow side of this transit. But on the positive side, we could experience turning of a corner in a relationship or a new cash flow coming in from an unexpected source, surprise encounters with Venus squaring Uranus, meeting someone new, falling in love with someone weird or interesting or that you wouldn't normally find yourself attracted to, even just finding attraction to someone that you're like, they're weird. I wouldn't normally go for that type of person. Maybe even discovering a new kind of art form or creativity. So changes are possible. When we have a square to Uranus, it's always expect the unexpected, stay open to possibilities during this square. And with Mercury retrograde still forming this trine to the North Node over the weekend, being in that state of review also, why am I finding myself drawn to this disruption, this weird thing, this eccentric display of beauty? And is there something here for me to kind of lean into a little bit more, to step outside of my comfort zone, to push that growth edge a little bit? Denise, I was going to make an appointment last night to cut my hair. Maybe I'll slow down, hold off for a while. Just give it until next week. I just wouldn't actually do it tomorrow. If I was you, I would, unless you're like wanting to make a drastic change and needing that little push of like, just do it, if you're someone who tends to be more reserved and getting the same haircut, the same trim every time you go in, and you're really wanting to do something different and out there, this would be the transit to do that. But if you don't want to end up with bangs and a bob, which I have done before, I literally in college, I cut off a foot of hair, dyed my hair dark, and got bangs all in the same hair appointment. Would not recommend. Way too much at once. And that is definitely something we could be prone to doing under this transit. With my Saturn right there, this transit is like, take the lessons you were learning, adapting, keep trying to do things differently, and Uranus might help with that push. Yeah, pushing outside of our comfort zone. Something's going on out there. I don't know if you can hear the dogs barking. Appreciate this awareness. My Aquarius Capricorn energy wants to create new ideas and implement them, but sometimes I need to take into account what's going on for others, take a look at values. The Libra moon can help with that relational element, and really help us have this emotional awareness of our values as well. Venus trine Venus. Love that for you, Elena. All the love flowing through. Communicating love probably comes very easily for you normally, but especially right now. Maybe even communicating in a different way with Venus and Aquarius. Love this transit for you. So big changes are possible in love, money, and beauty. That's what it comes down to with Venus squaring Uranus. The moon hangs out in Libra on Saturday as well. Still feeling that last quarter moon energy of release. And it'll stay quiet for most of the day on Saturday until 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Then it comes into this mashup with the sun and Saturn. So let's jump ahead on the chart here and I can show you what we're talking about. We'll just jump a full day ahead. And you can see when the moon, a little too far. Hold on. Bear with me. Okay, that should be good. So the moon forms a trine to Saturn, you can see, and also a sextile, or excuse me, a square to the sun. There's a lot going on over here, so might be a little confusing. But that square to the sun, when the moon squares the sun, that is the last quarter moon officially. And it's that tension between our internal and our external, which kind of creates that purging energy of like, I've got to get my emotions out. I've got to release the things I've been holding within and let them out. So we're feeling that, but the trine to Saturn is also bringing this maturity, this pacing ourselves, this awareness of the lessons that we're here to learn right now. So it feels like this responsible letting go. The moon trine Saturn is like, okay, I know my duty, I know my responsibility, I can be an adult about this, right? I can take the lessons as I'm releasing things, but the square to the sun can bring just a little bit of tension too. Like, what am I? It kind of comes back to like, are you keeping the peace? And is that keeping you from succeeding or moving forward? So there's this release, but also this responsible way of releasing that's happening on Saturday under the last quarter moon in Libra. Something that came through as I was writing about the moon squaring the sun, the Capricorn sun, Capricorn season, we like certainty. We like knowing what's coming next. We like sticking to the plan. But the moon squaring the sun kind of reminds us that certainty is an illusion, especially with the moon in Libra in this sign that can see both sides or all sides of something. It's like there is no black and white. There is no right and wrong. And that you might feel that tension tomorrow between the Capricorn sun, like, I know the path, I know what's right and wrong, in the Libra moon, like, but this could be the case as well. How am I really feeling about it? So coming back to that maturity, letting go of the need of certainty, letting go of the need to have it all figured out, and just kind of flowing with the release process, letting things go as they come up instead of having to know exactly this is what's happening, this is what I'm releasing, right? Leaning into the gentle energy of the Libra moon. Elena's going on a date tomorrow with a new man. Okay, Venus squaring Uranus, new man, trying something different. Very on point for the Saturday forecast. And with Venus trining your Venus, I love this for you. And Uranus is forming a sextile to your Venus then, right? Or let's see, Uranus. Oh, no. I take that back. But nonetheless, the trine between Venus and Venus. Great for love to flow through for you. Sending you all the good vibes, Elena. Yes. Charles says, today is my luckiest day. As a Virgo, I know it's perfect. Spoken like a Virgo. Happy Friday the 13th to you. I love everybody sending all these good vibes to Elena. Fallen in love. Such a fun time in life. It could be very easy to fall in love under the Venus-Uranus square too. Okay, so that's our Saturday. Lots of release. Breakthroughs are possible. Remember, Uranus squaring Venus is like you got to have a breakdown to have a breakthrough. You got to do it differently, disrupt the current cycle of things in order to innovate and up level. So these are the themes that could be coming up in relationships. I know, Cassie, I wished you a happy birthday before you came on, January 15th. One of my favorite Capricorns right here, celebrating her birthday on Sunday. So that is a perfect segue into the Sunday forecast. Things, I won't say they calm down because the moon is moving into Scorpio on Sunday. So calming down is not the best way to describe this. We'll still be feeling a lot of the energy from earlier in the weekend, but we're just going to be focusing on the moon on Sunday. So actually, we'll back up just a little bit. The last quarter moon in Libra hangs out for the first couple hours of the morning. And at 1 a.m. Pacific time, so 4 a.m. Eastern time, the moon is going to square Pluto. This means late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, you could feel a deep purge, some intense emotions coming up when the moon squares Pluto. Power struggles are possible as well if we're kind of clinging on to control. But in this last quarter moon phase, this is a potent moment for release. So noticing, are we trying to control anything? Are we trying to manipulate anything? This is a moment to loosen your grip, let go of control, and that can be the release in itself. Needing to let go of our need to keep the peace under the Libra moon in order to fully lean into our transformation during this square to Pluto. In order to align with who we're meant to become, how we're meant to evolve, we have to let go of our comfort zone just a little bit, right? So expect some sort of powerful release, an emotional release, a release of beliefs when the moon squares Pluto overnight from Saturday night into Sunday morning. Then just after 4 a.m. Pacific time, so 7 a.m. Eastern time, that's when the waning crescent moon moves into Scorpio on Sunday. And you're having your lunar return during this date, Elena. Okay, so much of this Libra energy working in your favor, all the Venus energy working in your favor. I love that. Rachel says, interesting, as you say, breakdown for breakthrough. I got another motivational quote yesterday. You feel the greatest resistance right before you have a breakthrough. Absolutely. And that's a beautiful quote to reflect on during the last quarter moon. Like, what are you resisting? What change are you resisting? What are you clinging on to out of fear of things changing? That's where the resistance comes up. And if we can just release our resistance to change, that's when breakthroughs can really happen, right? Venus squaring Uranus can help us lean into that, like, all right, I'm open to the possibilities. Let's just get excited about whatever's coming next and expect the unexpected. Let go of our need to have it figured out. The motivational app on your phone listens to me. You know, it's all aligned. You're getting the messages you need to get when you need to get them, right? Okay, let's talk about the Scorpio moon. I personally love the Scorpio moon. I have a Scorpio moon. I know not everybody feels that way because Scorpio is the deepest, darkest sign of the zodiac. And under the waning moon in Scorpio, the waning crescent moon is the phase of surrender, leading us into the next week of surrender and letting go and kind of leaning into the darkness before the new moon, the Lunar New Year next weekend. So the waning crescent moon diving into Scorpio is like that invitation to just go deep and embrace that darkness. You'll probably feel a continual release of powerful emotions, deep emotions over the coming days. And the key here is just to surrender to them. Let them come up, let them wash away. Open to release, witness your own darkness. Don't be afraid of the dark. Know that whatever is coming up now is meant to come up and meant to be released. It's interesting that we're in this phase of surrender under a sign that loves control so much. So you might be asked by the universe to surrender control. This is a really beautiful opportunity to find empowerment through surrender. Oftentimes we think of power and control as one and the same, but Scorpio energy can remind us that sovereignty and true empowerment can come from being like, I'm all right regardless of what happens. I don't need to manipulate things. I have empowerment within me. So letting go, yes, it can be challenging, but it can lead to more empowerment than you might expect. The Scorpio moon stays quiet most of the day, and then we're having a lot of these double connections playing out over the weekend. So Sunday night is when it starts to connect with both Mercury retrograde and the South Node. Let me pull that up on the chart. I always like to see it with my own eyes to really understand what's going on. So Sunday night, this should do. Okay. You can see the moon at 7 degrees in Scorpio. Actually, we'll jump ahead an hour. The Virgo in me wants it to be exact. Okay, here we go. The moon forming a sextile to Mercury retrograde. It really feels like stuff from the past could come up on Sunday night. Mercury retrograde, bringing us into that review, especially Mercury and Capricorn, making us aware of the passage of time, the lessons we've learned over time, understanding through that review. And then the moon is meeting up with the South Node at the same time. Remember, the South Node can represent our past lives, our comfort zone, the things that we're here to let go of. So this is the weekend to just let go of control. I feel like that keeps coming up with every transit that we're talking about, but especially on Sunday night, it's like, let it go. Let it go. And remember, anytime a planet connects with the south node, it also connects with the north node. So this conjunction to the south node that's playing out on Sunday night also brings an opposition to the north node. And by releasing the past, letting go of the beliefs, thoughts, patterns that no longer serve us, we're more aware of those patterns during this sextile to Mercury retrograde, right? The Scorpio moon brings this almost research or investigative energy of like really diving deep into things. So by understanding our own patterns, we can let go of them. And in that shedding process, in that letting go, we can also more clearly see the direction we're supposed to be going during this opposition to the North Node. So deeper emotions could continue to come up as the waning moon moves into Scorpio, but this is just an invitation to surrender control and release what's coming up as it needs to be released. We're always taken care of. We're always supported, trusting in our own evolution and our own transformation under the Scorpio moon. We crave that alchemy. We crave that transformation under a moon in Scorpio. So really like going deep and leaning into it and letting go of the past in order to align with our future. Mercury retrograde is supporting us in observing our own past patterns so we can release them. Nick also has a Scorpio moon. Lots of Scorpio moons in here. The Lunar New Year is like the Chinese New Year. So you'll probably see more about this next week, but the Aquarius new moon marks the Lunar New Year. And we'll be talking about this next week. But many cultures around the world celebrated the New Year right around the 21st, or the new moon, the first new moon of the calendar year. Also, we've touched on this before, but human design, it's believed the new year starts on January 22nd. So there's going to be a lot of new energy around this new moon, which is why next week is a very powerful week for releasing, letting go, shedding. I know in our Western society, we're like January 1st, it's a new year, but really the past couple weeks have been a continual ending and shedding. So if you feel like you haven't quite gotten that kick to start things yet, next weekend is the time to do it. I've always had problems in a Scorpio moon, very heavy. My invitation to you, Nikki, is like lean into that heaviness, lean into that intensity. There is power there. There is medicine there for you. So instead of resisting it, embrace the darkness, embrace the heaviness, embrace your capacity to feel deeply. That's a beautiful thing. And by fully allowing yourself to feel hard things, you can finally let them go and release them. This Scorpio moon feels potent for me, Katie says. I have Pluto and my midheaven in Scorpio, plus all the Scorpio energy in my house. I think it's going to be beautiful. I think so too. Manifest what you want as well, you know? There is a difference between trying to control everything and just putting the vibes out that you want to align with, you know? Like, I think this release is going to be beautiful. I think it's going to help us all evolve and let go of what's no longer serving us. That is what I'm manifesting in the next week. Hi, Bree. My North Node in Aries, Diane says, I feel like it's really driving me to break away from some things. It's hard to tell which should be broken away from. Well, surrender control and let the universe show you what needs to be released. Remember that turtle energy. We don't have to have it all figured out right now. Slow and steady wins the race. So allow that release process to happen gradually. If you don't know what to release yet, don't release anything yet. Release the need to know. Release the control. Being that Aries is so impulsive, it all feels impulsive to my Libra Sun, Virgo Moon. Yeah, that's okay. You know, and your North Node being in Aries, something that could come from this is just more confidence, being willing to go head first into things when you are feeling passionate, but also learning, okay, is it impulse or is it passion? You know, And that would mean your south node is in Libra. So the north node for you in Aries might just be honoring yourself more, honoring your passions more, having confidence when you really want to go after something rather than wondering how it's going to affect other people. That's more of the south node in Libra, being a little codependent, wondering, is my desire going to affect them? Screw that. Your north node in Aries is like, honor you, do you, boo. Bree's the opposite of Diane. North node in Libra, south node in Aries. Leaning into community and resources. I can reach out for help. Yeah, for you, you might have the story with your south node in Aries, like, I have to do it all myself. And what's really cool is that the nodes, I love that you both brought this up, the nodes are shifting into Aries and Libra this year. The eclipses will be on the Aries-Libra axis. So for both Diane and Bree, or anyone with their north and south nodes in Libra and Aries, this is going to be a very transformative year for you. These eclipses coming up over 2023 could be very illuminating and powerful. When I was going through my nodal reversal, I have my south node in Gemini, my north node in Sagittarius. During a Sagittarius lunar eclipse was when I had this breakthrough, like, I want to talk about astrology more. I want to do this. That's where the idea came from. So powerful things can happen during the eclipses for you both this year. Okay, my friends, that is the astrology forecast. Coming back to our affirmation of the day, it's safe to go with the flow. I know it's still Capricorn season. I know we want to have a plan. We're visioning the future. We're going after our success, but the softness of Neptune today, the softness of the Libra moon, reminds us it's safe to go with the flow and to release with the flow, to let go with the flow. We don't have to be in control of the release. We don't even have to understand exactly what we're releasing. It could even just be allowing emotions to come up as they want to come up and allowing them to be released as they want to be released. When was this? My nodes are in Sagittarius and Gemini too. That was 2020, right? 2020, what year is it? It's 2023. So I think end of 2020 through 2021 was when the eclipses on the Sagittarius Gemini axis were playing out. But remember, eclipse cycles happen in like 18-month cycles. So it's not all at once, but specifically that eclipse was, I believe, in May of 2021. I remember this because it was a very pinnacle moment for me. I know it was in May. That explains then why this is still being highlighted for me. It was confusing for me why some of this was coming up, like why this one thing would want to be released. Yeah, just let it happen naturally. Let it happen naturally. Yes, it is cool, your opposites. I love when that happens, when we can all get a little bit from the forecast and reflect on our own charts, which if you want to do more of, transit tracking is starting in a week. There will be an email going out by the end of the day to help you all choose which times will be best for us all to meet. So yes, focus on what you can control and lean into what you can manifest. Surrender. I love this, Rachel. I love your affirmation better than my affirmation today. Focus on what you can control and lean into what you can manifest. Okay, let's finish up with a card pull. Instead of a 3-card tarot pull, I'm going to do a 3-card pull, but just a simple message for each day from the Universe Has Your Back deck. Just feeling I want like really clear, simple messages for each day. So as we wrap up here, this is your time to share any final insights, ask any final questions. It just hit 11:11 here in the Pacific time zone. So you know something magical is going to come through during these card pulls. Honestly, Nick, biggest realization as a Virgo, or if you have a lot of Scorpio energy, I can't control the world. How many years did I go, or did you go, trying to freaking control everything and everyone? Just some things, right? Going with the flow is what I've been doing for a while. It's been the biggest permission slip for me to be like, oh, I can't control everything. All I can control is me. Yeah. And remember, people pleasing is an attempt at controlling how other people feel. As much as we want to be helpful and keep the peace. Sometimes keeping the peace is an attempt to control the energy, right? All right. Let's all take a deep breath together, sending our energy, our intentions. Whoa! These cards keep flying out into the cards. Okay, well, that will be our Friday card. Let's pull our Saturday and Sunday cards as we breathe together. Here we go. Breathing in the deepest breath you've taken all day. And let it go. What do we need to know this weekend? Okay. Our Friday card. My outer experiences are a reflection of my internal condition. My outer experiences are a reflection of my internal condition. This really feels like it's calling us out for trying to control things, right? So, if we're trying to control things externally, what does that say about our need for control internally? If we are trying to people please, what does that say about how we feel about ourselves and our self-worth? So our Friday message, my outer experiences are a reflection of my internal condition. There you go. You came back just for that message, right? I just received a phone call of someone trying to help me. I didn't go back to live and listen to you say the North and South nodes are coming into Aries and Libra. Yeah, perfect timing for you. I've been trying to figure out what my main goal is for 2023. I feel like I'm being called to just surrender and learn to manifest and believe in myself. Wait till the Lunar New Year. Wait until the new moon. You don't have to have it figured out right now. You don't even have to set intentions right now. My outer experiences are a reflection of my internal condition. If things feel chaotic or like you're not in control externally, how can you find more control, confidence, security within yourself this Capricorn season? Okay. Our Saturday card, obstacles or detours in the right direction. If that's not Venus squaring Uranus, obstacles, disruptions, changes of plan, expect the unexpected. And when the unexpected pops up on Saturday, remember this mantra. Obstacles are detours in the right direction. The universe might be surprising you. That's okay. Say thank you for pushing me in a different direction right now than I thought I was supposed to go in. Expect the unexpected on Saturday for sure. And on Sunday, the card that came through, my faith has the power to turn trauma into healing, conflict into growth, and fear into love. My faith has the power to turn trauma into healing, conflict. I can't talk today. It's Mercury retrograde. We're blaming Mercury retrograde. My faith has the power to turn trauma into healing, conflict into growth, and fear into love. So Scorpio moon vibe, going deep within ourselves, finding faith in ourselves, trusting ourselves. My faith has the power to turn trauma into healing. Hello, alchemy. Hello, Scorpio moon. Conflict into growth, transforming conflict into growth while the moon is in the sign of transformation, and fear into love. Embracing our fears and loving them under the Scorpio moon, having faith that we are the alchemist and what is being alchemized. My faith has the power to turn trauma into healing, conflict into growth, and fear into love. Beautiful. These cards, definitely the messages I needed to hear. Christina says that she may take a car drive with her husband on Sunday, and the unknown of what will be is terrifying. My faith has the power to turn trauma into healing, conflict into growth, and fear into love. Christina, this message is for you. Have faith that everything is working out in your favor. Everything is working out for the highest good. All you have to do is show up in your own authenticity, in your own truth, and know that having hard conversations, embracing the darkness can alchemize fear into love. Wow, I love life and so appreciative right now. We love you and we're so appreciative for you. Inner chaos and meltdown. Your outer experiences are a reflection of your internal condition. So under the Libra moon, how can you take some time to find more peace internally, right? That should come fairly natural to you with your Libra South node. How can you find more peace and harmony? And you'll probably notice that your external experiences shift a little bit too. Beautiful reminder, Katie. The path of healing is not linear. I love that. Great reminder for all of us. Yes, we're all here. We're all doing the work every day. But yeah, sometimes triggers pop up. Sometimes we're like, oh, didn't realize that was still bothering me, or that resentment was still in there, you know? So remembering the path of healing is not linear. It's not meant to be. Life is not meant to be linear. How boring would it be if we were just like, okay, climbing the ladder, doing the thing. We always know what's coming next. We never know what's coming next, right? Obstacles or detours in the right direction. Starting the weekend, locking myself out of the car sounds about right. Thanks, Mercury retrograde. That's definitely some Mercury retrograde stuff. The moon is squaring Mercury retrograde today too. So I don't know if you were tuned in when I said tech glitches are possible today, travel issues are possible today. Sending you love, hoping you find a spare key or someone to help you get into your car. The cards were on point, yeah. Yeah, this deck is beautiful. And this is just a great mantra, this Sunday card, to have in your mind, regardless of when we pull the card. My faith has the power to turn trauma into healing, conflict into growth, fear into love. Hopeful for Sunday. Yeah, perfect Sunday card with the past coming up. The past has prepared us for what healing and love is ahead. The past has prepared us for what healing and love is ahead. I don't know if you guys realize, but all of your reflections today are very much needed. So I thank you all for just sharing what's on your heart and sharing your wisdom. Your words are so powerful. Ah, she got it. She figured it out. She figured it out. I love that. Fear over love. Fear over love always. Might not be easy sometimes, but embracing our fears and knowing that they're opportunities to more deeply love ourselves, to find more security in ourselves, and even to more deeply love other people, even if we don't know what's coming next. All right, everyone, that is going to do it for this Friday the 13th episode of Transits Today. I hope that that gave you some insight, something to hold on to as we head into this potentially chaotic weekend, remembering obstacles or detours in the right direction, and that you have everything within you to navigate whatever obstacles, whatever surprises, whatever unexpected things are coming your way. I am always protected no matter what. Oh, you are all just dropping that wisdom in the chat today. Loving it. I know what you meant. Maybe I said fear over love, but love over fear. We get it. We got you. The intention was there. Always choose love. Yes. Always choose love. Have a beautiful weekend. Remember, you still have about a week to sign up for Transits Today if you want to join us on that month-long journey of getting to know your own chart better and how to track these transits in your specific chart. You can find the link to sign up at thespiritualjournalist.com/shop. And if you're new here, welcome. We love you already. Like this video, subscribe to the channel so you can support these videos coming out every weekday. For those of you who keep showing up, I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for your continued energy, wisdom, commitment to yourself, commitment to this community. I think you are all absolutely amazing and you are capable of navigating whatever comes your way. Sounds like I have some breakfast waiting for me, so I'm going to sign off. But I'll be sending you all so much love throughout the weekend. And until I see you next, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.